Hey guys, well, I want to introduce you to a couple of friends of mine, Chris and Hilda Orr. You're going to love them. They've such an incredible heart for the destitute and for the marginalized and those most in need. And not just the heart, but they're moved to action to do something about what they see in front of them. And that's led them more recently, to actually working with refugees in Athens, and particularly focusing on a camp called Malakasa, which has extreme poverty and extreme need. And they've just done whatever has been in front of them. They've fed the hungry, which is probably a lot of what they've done. They've looked at providing tents when someone doesn't have somewhere to stay, blankets when someone's cold, visiting people in prison, just doing whatever is the need is in front of them. And it's just really beautiful to have watched their journey with that they're always not just willing to sit on their hands, but to do something into action and where it's led them to. So I think they're incredible people. I think you will too. And I'd love to get them on here. So Hilda and Chris, are you there?
Hello, Ben.
Hilda.
Hello.
How are you?
Hi. We're good. We're good.
We're trying to organize ourselves here.
Great. Yeah. No, get yourself sorted. That's no problem. Hilda, let me start with you. God's been doing something with you for a long time, but more recently that's obviously led you to working with refugees in Athens, which I've told people a little bit about. But tell us how that's happened, how God's moved your heart for those most in need.
After I came back from Palestine, I saw a lot of things that really upset me there, but I felt a bit helpless to be able to do anything. And just at that time, the images of the little boy Alan Kurdi were flashing up on the screen in 2015, the little boy who was washed up on the shores in Turkey trying to get to Greece. And I realized that most of the boats were coming into the island of Lesbos, which is only 6 kilometers from Turkey. And so I thought straight away, I have to go there. I have to do something to help if I can. And so I contacted one organization, a voluntary organization there in Lesbos, and they said, yes, come on, we need volunteers. But I never actually ended up working with them because they were in the north of the island. But I went there, and there were about 1,000 boats, 1,000 people coming in every week. At that time, it was just at the height of the crisis, and the borders were open into Europe, so they were coming into the islands, going to the mainland, and then heading off towards Germany, basically. But during that time, I was so affected by what I saw. There were a lot of people who were getting drowned in the water and so on, coming over. And that's what triggered the interest for me. I felt I had, even that year after I came back, I felt I had to go back again. And I have been going since then. I've been there about 10 times since 2015.
Yeah, wow, I love that. I love that you didn't sit back, and when you were moved by what you saw, you actually did something about it, and you got the action. I love that about you, and about both of you. Chris, you've also been on a journey with this, and God's been moving your heart for those in need too, and you've been a part of this. So tell us a little bit of your journey.
So I still didn't have the same interest that Hilda had at all. And then when she started going to Greece, I didn't really understand it. And I don't think anybody really, if you haven't been there, it is something very hard to understand. And then must be, would it be three years ago? I had been recovering from a serious illness, and Hilda very kindly booked us a holiday on a Greek island. But it wasn't always just the right motive. She said she would pay for the holiday as long as I would spend 2 days in Athens looking at her work. So I thought, well, should be no bother doing that. And so I was actually very shocked when Hilda started to take me into some of the dangerous areas that she was working in, and like I was going, you shouldn't be here. It was just classed by even the Greeks as a dangerous area. But I went into a wee church with her that was in the middle of this. And when we were coming out, there was a family coming into the church asking for help. And we stopped them on the stairs, and Hilda said, you know, where are you from? And got all their details. And they were probably in their 20s. And she had a toddler, and she had a baby in the pram. And then she was also expecting as well. And so we got talking, they could speak broken English. And we discovered that they hadn't eaten for 2 days. Oh. And I asked the lady, what are you feeding the baby on in the bottle? And she said, tap water. Mm. Oh. And I found that I just stood there in disbelief that a mother would have to feed her baby on tap water because she didn't have money or food resources to look after a family. So it had a big impact on me, that meeting, and I came away from Hilda, with Hilda. And when I was retiring the following year, I said to Hilda, I think she was quite surprised. I said, I think we should go for 6 months. I would like to join you and help these people.
Wow, I love that. Like, again, just an incredible journey of not just letting something affect you, but actually being moved to action with something that God's moving your heart for. Absolutely love that. Yeah, it's obviously not easy. A lot of the stuff that you're having to deal with and face is challenging, and at times it probably can feel overwhelming. You know, what do you do? How do you keep going? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, it does get overwhelming. I have to keep remembering something that I think you said to me, or somebody said to me in the church. You know, just look at the one in front of you. Just concentrate on the one, because if you look at the big picture, it's totally overwhelming and you just get completely swamped. So I've thought of that so many times. Just concentrating on the people that God has for me to help, basically, and just staying close to God and staying in prayer is an important thing as I walk along.
Yeah, it's really good, guys. Yeah, when people see need, that's not always their response. That's what I love about you guys, is you always are moved to action. You know, often when we people see things, it feels overwhelming. It feels like they're powerless to do anything about it. They don't know where to start. And what would you say to people that are listening in, maybe that see a need but aren't sure what to do or how to respond to that? What would you say to them?
I think if the need is there in front of you, for me, I don't actually have to think. I just act in a way. I just do. But again, like I would say before, just concentrate on the one person. Don't look at the big picture. Just concentrate on the one person and do what you can to help that person. And you may only be a link in the chain. You may not be able to fix all their problems. Maybe you can only do a little bit, but then hopefully somebody else will come along and do a little bit more. Loving people is the important thing. Loving them unconditionally, not so that they fit your agenda or something like that, but just loving people unconditionally is the important thing. And I don't think that's something we can conjure up. I think it just comes from spending time with God and really just flowing in that.
Yeah, so you're obviously, even though we're dealing with COVID and you're not over there, you're obviously still helping and doing stuff and responding to needs that are coming up. So how can people, if they're listening in maybe this morning or they've been affected by what's going on, how can they practically respond in this moment right now? What could they do?
Well, yes, the Facebook page, Fund a Food Drop, is still going. People are still donating money. I'm sending money. I just sent another €1,000 there for food for Malakasa. I'm sending medicines as well. And also I run an English class every morning, Monday to Friday for an hour and a half. If anybody wants to join in that, there's probably no need for somebody to join this class, but there's a need for somebody to take an additional class for beginners. So if there's anybody who's qualified who thinks they'd like to do that.
Well, I know this isn't a journey that's finished for you guys. You're still engaged and you're hoping to go back at some point. But thank you so much just for sharing that stuff. Like, I think it's inspiring. It's inspiring to me. I'm sure for many listening, it's incredibly inspiring that God has moved you in something. He's affected your heart, placed something on your heart, but you've been moved to action. You've actually done something about it. And so maybe for some of us that are listening in that see a need and are affected by it, where God puts something on our heart, we want to be challenged by you guys to actually put it into action, to do something about it. And I think that's really inspiring to hear from you guys. We're all ordinary people, but God is doing extraordinary things through us, and you guys are a great example of that. So thank you so much for being you and for sharing this morning as well. See you later.